We got blood splurting everywhere. It's fantastic. Oh, also, heavy spice, babe. I've just never read the classics. I've just read the smutty ones. It was essentially a sex house. That's what it was. Yeah, this is kind of dark. Hey guys, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. So this week, of course, since we're officially now in August, I'm going to do a little bit of a wrap up here. I will admit though that it wasn't as large as I thought it would be. I thought I was going to do so much reading in July, but I've just been really busy with the readathon with all the little tidbits and whatnot. But I did get some reading in, and honestly, it's not the make games, so you can be proud of me for that. I'm going to wait to do that with you guys for the read-alongs. But I did find some stuff where I literally was shocked, so happy. It was just a short story. I have to start reading the actual series. But I think I literally found my sort of like horror romance. Like I was giddy. I was so giddy. I'll have to like read you a passage, to be honest, which I totally have to thank Natalie for this. She's the one who recommended it to me. But I'll get to that one at the end. So I did find some really good stuff. I had some stuff in between, and then I had some freaky stuff, man. If you've already seen like April, if you follow Happily Ever April over on her Instagram, she's already mentioned the book. Okay, it's a weird one about cats. So buckle up for that one. But anyways, just jumping right on into it, I only really have like 5 books here. The first one I'm going to go over is a DNF. This one, I know a lot of people like it from what I've heard, but I also have heard a lot of people don't either. So it seems like it's a love-hate relationship. But it's the one by Hannah Winton, For the Wolf. I love the cover, very pretty, love the premise, Beauty and the Beast, of course, one of my favorites. But I kind of just felt like this was written in a way where it was almost too fluffy for me. It was almost too artistic, if that makes sense, and I totally respect that. But I realized that that's just not my jive, man. You know, like it's kind of brought me out of it a little bit, if I'm being completely honest, to the point where I would want to skip words. I wasn't hanging on every word by any means. I felt like I was jumping a lot because I felt like the descriptions were just too much and were not needed. And it was done too often to the point where I kind of feel like a lot of this book should kind of be cut out. So it wasn't for me. I like the whole Little Red Riding Hood meets Beauty and the Beast sort of vibe, but it didn't quite sit right for me. I don't know about anybody else. I can't really rate it since I didn't finish it. It's kind of a softie enough, but where I kind of stand right now with it, it's kind of a 2-star. I DNF'd it though, so like I have no want to really continue reading it. So that gives you a little bit of an idea there. But speaking of Little Red Riding Hood, I actually read Tasting Red by Holly Roberts. This was one I recommended back in like a fairy tale video that I did, fairy tale retellings. And Vita, she messaged me that she actually did read it. That was kind of her first sort of smutty read. And it is definitely smutty, but it does have a plot, it has a storyline. But it's one of those books where like you can't take it seriously. This isn't highbrow literature by any means. It's just, you sit back, you have a good time, you have something to drink, you're gonna be good. You know, it's very funny, it's very different. It's just kind of this fun sort of play of where we're in a college and we have our Little Red Riding Hood. Essentially all of these creatures are magical except for her. She can't seem to find her power, so she feels like she's a magical dud, and she's going to stay with her grandma right before she has like some finals at Boston University, by the way, Massachusetts here. And then the wolf comes along because he's looking for her grandma. But it has this sort of modern vibe. It's set in present day. Our grandma, she's literally like, she's posh. You know, she's not like your little old grandma with her dinky little curtains and just baking cookies. She like lives in like a super modern mansion. She's making all sorts of money. Like she's literally an icon in this world right now. And the wolf is sent after her to kind of essentially assassinate her. And he's trying to get close. So that's when he finds Little Red Riding Hood. And she kind of has this, it's not really a power, but she kind of has this need, this compulsion to be touched, if you know what I'm saying. So you definitely have the smutty scenes in here, and they happen right away, man. right away. But it's fun. It's like I said, you have to go into it with just this idea of like, you're going to sit down, relax, and not take this seriously. It's just meant to be a little goofy. It still has a serious sort of plot line in it, but it's just told in a more comedic sort of fashion. So I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it. It's not perfect by any means, but it's still a lot of fun. At first when I started it, I was kind of like, I don't know, but I kept pushing through and I enjoyed myself more and more throughout it because it's such a different way to think about fairy tales. It has more of this like goth, punkish sort of vibe to the girls, and you meet Goldilocks and you meet Rapunzel. They're going to have their own storylines coming down the wagon. I actually think in November is when Goldilocks is going to come out, but I'm going to rate it, I think, 4 stars. It's not perfect for me. There's definitely some problems in there, but it's a lot of fun. I recommend it. If you're into a smutty sort of read, I think it'd be fun for you. It's a neat, different sort of retelling. Okay. And the smut's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I think the only thing that kind of held it back for me is you could tell the male characters were written by a female author. That was just very, very apparent. So that was really my only stitch with it. But the next one, okay, the last one's 4 stars. Cool, that's great. I'm happy that I had that in that month. But I also had one that was just kind of disturbing on so many levels. This is the one I was telling you about with April. We read, I think it's called like what's it called? The Black Devil Internal Affairs, and it's literally about these cats. They're supposed to be anthropomorphic cats, but if you look at the covers, that's freaking cats. Those are just legit cats standing on 2 legs. As April puts it, she just thought about Puss in Boots. Agreed. Okay, which makes it worse because this is a smutty book. This is a male romance, if you will, if you want to call it that, where we DNF'd pretty early on and it wasn't romance per se. But this was such a weird book. Like, there's some things that came out of this that I didn't know was a thing. And I found my spot where I'm willing to stop, which I didn't think I had. I didn't think I had that. I didn't think I had a line, but I found it. So did April. Anyways, I'm just gonna give you the spoilers, okay? But essentially, this is a series, and our main guy, I can't remember our main cat, he's essentially a detective, and there's kind of this sex trafficking thing that's been going on, and it's pretty standard, and it's essentially Sphinx cats. So your hairless cats, those are considered like the sexiest cats around. I don't know why I just did that. But they're essentially being trafficked. They're the Omegas, which this was my first Omegaverse book, by the way. Probably not the best one to start on. Feel free to give me suggestions. But there's this particular cat that saw a murder, and he needs to get moved to a safe house, I believe. No, it wasn't a safe house. It was essentially a sex house. That's what it was. Yeah, this is kind of dark. But he has to get moved to this like house where honestly he's pretty much going to die, getting railed a bunch of times. And they try to talk about like how he likes it, like he doesn't want to go there because he's not treated well, but he is into that sort of thing. But lo and behold, our detective comes in. He's the one who's supposed to transport him. He's an all black cat. I started off thinking that he was kind of like this serious sort of cat. I thought the storyline was going to deal with some heavy topics, but be done in a comedic sort of way that still had a really good plot to it. No, it wasn't. Our detective started out like that, where you get this appearance that he's this very hardened sort of detective that does really have a soft heart underneath, and he is attracted to the naked cat that he has to transport, but he doesn't want to treat him like he's a lower being, which typically that's how they are treated. They're on collars, they're being dressed a certain way, they're put in these cages, so it's more easy for you to do your business with them, if you will. So there's some insane stuff in here. But our detective, he detests all that, but he is also simultaneously insanely attracted to him. Oh, and the cats have powers on top of all that. So the book's a lot, okay? And I only got like 23% in. That's all there. But each of these cats have a power. Our sexy cat, I guess we'll call him, I feel bad saying that. He can like kind of commune with flowers, like he has powers with flowers. And then our detective, I believe it was, he could kind of like feel what you're feeling and whatnot. So it was interesting. But they basically stop on the way to him getting transported. They stop at like a little bus stop, if you will. Not a bus stop, a car stop along a freeway, and they bang one out. And it's pretty intense, man. Like, it's real freaking intense. Like, he's literally the detective. He has a soft spot, but it doesn't show when he's dominating the other cat. You know what I mean? Like, he's definitely proven that he's the alpha, and our sexy cat is loving every second of it. But it's weird. It's very degrading. It's odd. It's just odd. Honestly, it's so weird. And then I haven't even really gotten into the worst part yet. I know, I'm sorry. I know I'm kind of like railing on this. That was not the right word to use. Or maybe it was. I digress. So there's 2 phrases in this book that I think is what made April and I really stop reading it. Like I said, it's degrading. The first one being that he calls the cat, the sexy cat, as like a term of endearment, his skin sheath. That was the word that honestly really got me. The next one's pretty bad. The next one's the one that disturbed April. It did disturb me too. But skin sheath as a term of endearment? Like, I don't know what to say to that, but okay. The second word, it's made up. I will let you know because I had to look it up and see if this was a real thing on cats. I know I'm deeply disturbed for the fact that I did Google it, but it doesn't exist, I'm proud to say. But they have this thing, because there's like no female cats around. Like, I haven't seen any female cats. It sounds like females just don't exist in this world, all right? So the males seem to, produce kittens. And I guess they have this thing called a seed pocket. All right? A seed pocket. Oh, man. Okay. So basically, they do their thing. They have their intimate moment. And there's the normal hole, I guess you'll say. And then there's the seed pocket right underneath to catch all of the batter. I don't know why I'm describing it to you, but yeah. So that's the book. That's where I stopped. That's also where April stopped. It's a series, apparently, and the covers are phenomenal. All right, chef's kiss on the covers. The storyline was a little much for me. All right, so you know what? If you dare, go check it out. It is on KU. But it's just, be ready for that. All right? Anyways, moving on to the really good stuff. This was the stuff that I was excited about. There's 2 here. One, I'm honestly jonesing more for this one. And this is the one where I was like, oh my God, I found like my horror romance. But these 2 books, they're both prequels, each to their own series. So the first one, this is the one that I still really liked, but I'm not as interested, if you will say, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. But this one's called Rav, and it's essentially Alice in Wonderland, but it's called The Vampires of Wonderland. So we still have this Wonderland sort of play on everything with the Cheshire Cat and the White Rabbit and the Queen of Hearts, all of that jazz, Alice, but it has this vampiric sort of feel. We have a bunch of vampires in here. It's very bloody, very gory, literally just within the prequel, which is 30 pages, by the way. Oh, also, heavy spice, babe. Okay? Very heavy spice. But just within the 30 pages, you can see that horror vibe, all right? And you got the gore. We got blood splurting everywhere. It's fantastic. So that's all I'm going to say because it is a prequel in 30 pages. I don't want to give too much away. But it is a full-on series where I think it's a reverse harem and you're going to have different books that will be full-on books for like the Cheshire Cat, the Mad Hatter, all that jazz. So that's that one. That one I'm going to rate, I don't quite want to give it 4 stars. I'm going to say 3.75. All right, 3.75. But this next one, okay, the other prequel, I'm going to give it a 5. which again, thank you, Natalie. She commented. She's the one who told me that it's this like really bloody romance that's a play on The Wizard of Oz. It is so good, okay? It is so, I literally kept stopping and I was like giggling, and my husband literally was telling me how bright my eyes were. So that's how you know I love it. It's so good. I'm gonna read you a passage, but anyways, I'll just talk about it, okay? But it's literally called Lion. So you have your typical characters from The Wizard of Oz, but this is called The Fae of Oz or Fairies of Oz. And it's another like horror gore romance. Very smutty, again. The smut was done well, I will say that. But the prequel, again 30 pages, so good. Like, it sucked me in. They did such a good job writing these 30 pages. I got an idea of the characters, I got an idea of the storyline, I got my blood, I got my romance, I got my smut. I am a happy freaking camper, you guys. I am so happy. Like, I cannot wait to start reading these books. And I think I'm going to wait till September because we're in the thick of the romance readathon. But we'll see. I might not be able to hold myself back. But anyways, talking about Lion. Essentially, you have the Lion. This is all after Dorothy killed the Wicked Witch of the West. This is all after that. Dorothy's back in Kansas. Our characters are all strewn across Oz. Lion has his courage, which he never had before. He's a virgin, by the way. Because of course. But he essentially, all he kind of has longed for is to want to be wanted, if you will. He needs someone to want him and need him around. So it's not necessarily that he was looking for love. He kind of just wanted to be associated with some power and have someone utilize him. So Oz, the Wizard of Oz, he's kind of this kooky old guy. And he's fantastic. I liked his character. But he sends Lion on this mission where he essentially needs to go over to another Wicked Witch. I believe it's the Wicked Witch of the East. And I love her. Oh my God, do I love her. She is such a cool villain. Which, let me say this, by the way. Vita, thank you for telling me. I didn't know that this witch already existed when I was reading the book. So I was getting so giddy and just thinking like, oh my God, these authors are sick. They just created such an epic character. I love her. But it apparently already existed in the Wizard of Oz books. I've just never read the classics. I've just read the smutty ones. So that says a lot about me. But anyways, the witch, I'll tell you in case you don't know, in case you're someone like me that only reads smut. Well, I don't just read smut, but you know what I mean. So the witch, oh my God, I love her so much. So she's like in this old Victorian like white dress, her body and everything, and she's ruthless, man. Like she's full of herself, she's ruthless, she has no problem killing anybody. Like literally, she has no remorse. And she has this whole like closet or like this cabinet, if you will, that has a bunch of severed heads in it. A bunch of like pretty girls, severed heads, because what she does is she can see through their heads, but she can take her own off and then put on a new one. You know, she's got great fashion sense. All right. She can just be a new person whenever she wants. And I loved, I'll read that part to you. I'll read that to her. Let me get it. One sec. Okay. So this literally like this paragraph like turned me on. All right. Not like legitimately, but like turned my brain on to like the book. That's what I mean. But this is from the witch's perspective, okay? Now her fingers twitched at the thought of collecting even more faces. She craved the feel of cleaning them up, wiping the blood away from their delicate skin, twisting their features into an expression that she wanted them to hold as they sat in their boxes and waited their turn to be worn. Oh, I love it so much. I love that. I love like her, like the idea of just like her messing with the face to get it in like the perfect expression, you know? I thought it was great. Basically, this chick's head was just sliced off by the lion. Awesome, man. Which there was some stuff in here, the lion becomes ruthless. Like pretty instantaneously, he's not a great guy, you know? But I kind of love him for it. Like he has this moment, I'm sorry, maybe I'm not full on spoiling it for you, but I'm just like really excited and I want to talk about it. So maybe jump ahead. But there's this part where there's this like chick, she's really pretty and she's strung up and all that jazz. And our witch, she wants her head because, you know, it's like she needs a new hat. So she asked the lion to kind of test him to see where his loyalty is to sever her head. So he takes a sword, and his response is like he has no problem doing this. He doesn't hesitate, nothing, man. He takes the sword and he just goes, "I'm sorry, but your head will look better on her body." Which, blood everywhere. Literally. This was me, actually. How I'm responding right now to you, talking to you, is what I did when I was reading it. So I'm very happy. I'm very excited. I can't wait to start Tin, which is the first book in the series. Kind of see what's going on with him. He's apparently an assassin. All right? I love this. I love this. These authors, I love their minds. Beautiful. Beautiful. But anyways, that was my 5-star read for the month. And like I said, I didn't read the Make Games, so you guys should be proud of me that I didn't kind of mention it in my wrap-up video. So, but anyways, I will catch you guys later. That's it. Hopefully I'll have more books next month. At least I did kind of have some good ones between Tasting Red and Lion. Hello, I'm excited. And the cat one, honestly, like I DNF'd it, but I mean, I felt a lot of things with it. So even when I have negative emotions, I enjoy when I just feel heavily for something, whether it's good or it's bad. You know, that's worth my time. I just don't want to feel indifferent. But anyways, I will catch you guys later. I'll see you next week. And then if you guys are in the readathon right now, the romance readathon, keep on submitting your books, guys. We're only 2 days in as I'm filming this, and there's already 213 books that have been submitted. So we are reading like mad, all right? But anyways, I'll catch you later. Bye.